fancy seeing you here. If you clicked on this video, then you're trying to get more information about this no oil, no butter thing on natural hair. Originally, the video that I wanted to upload is around my wash and go process. Granted, I'm still learning and trying to get it right, but I actually think you can learn from my mistakes. However, there are so many misconceptions out there about what this no oil, no butter thing is that I actually think it's really important to tackle them. Now, if you're thinking about doing this, and no pressure at all, girl, but if you are thinking about doing it, I want you to have the best available information out there so that you can be successful if you do decide to go that route. And I say this because this method is so different than what we know, what we've been doing for years, what we've done for decades, what our parents did, what grandma did. So if you are going to do this with the wrong information, and if you don't understand what you're doing, I personally think you can actually cause more harm than good to your hair. So without further ado, let's get started with all of the misconceptions around this method, and hopefully that answers a lot of your questions. Whoa. Before we get started though, girl, if you're back and you watched the first 2 videos that I have in this series and you're enjoying it, but yet haven't subscribed, wow. Yes, that is me judging you. However, it's not too late. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the bell so you get notified every single time your girl uploads a new video. And yes, I've done 2 videos on this series already. That's because there is a lot to unpack, there's a lot to unlearn, and there's a lot to learn. This onion is thick. Of course, I will link these videos in the cards and down below. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you can learn about this hair on our head, and also follow me on Instagram so you can get real-time update as to what's going on with my hair, how my hair feels, how I'm struggling with this wash and go situation. If you want to see all of that, then follow me on Instagram. Alright, so let's get into misconception number 1. So I wanted to speak on this first and foremost. Do not feel pressured to try this method. And I wanted to put this one on top of the list because, of course, everybody's doing it. Everyone's talking about it. Some are doing it right or wrong, or people have their own experiences with it. But I wanted to put it out there because don't let somebody else dictate how you should take care of your hair. It's on your head. If you've been using oil and butters for years and it's working for you, hell, I've used oils and butters for years and my hair was thriving. My hair was doing well. If I may just say so myself, keep using it. Don't feel pressured to change everything that you're doing. Taking care of your hair is a matter of preference. Yes, I said it. If you like your oil and butters, if your hair likes the oil and butters, then keep using it. That said, there are a lot of ways that we can improve on the things that we're already doing. So if you're using oil and butters and you're struggling, it's not working for you, then perhaps this is a method that you can try. Also, if you don't like the greasy feeling that comes with oils and butters, then maybe that's something you can try. Ultimately, the decision to try this and to experiment with your hair is yours. This isn't much of a misconception. I mean, maybe if you want to say that this is the only way to care for natural hair, personally, I don't think so. Second misconception is the fact that you're going to try this once, see how it goes, and get great results. False. For best result, personally, I think this is something that you need to commit to. This is not something that you're going to try once and give up. And my cat is over here. Sir, what are you doing? When you think about it, we've been using oils and butters for a decade, for a long time. So you need to give your hair time to adjust, and also you need to give yourself time to process all of this, process how your hair feels outside of oil and butter. I don't think it's fair if you tried this once and say, oh, well, no, it didn't work for me. You didn't really give it a chance to work. If you're someone that's not willing to give it the full 30 days to really get a sense of how this works, then don't try it. Why are you putting yourself through the heartbreak? Don't do it. Stick to what's been working and call it a day. If you do want to try this though, you should commit and give it 30 days. This is why there's a whole hashtag 30-day detox. Although you're not doing something specific to detox your hair within the 30 days, other than dropping your oils, butters, and EcoStyler gel. It's just a matter of giving yourself 30 days so that you can actually see the result. The rationale is that you've been using oils and butters in your hair for the past, 5 to 10 years. So you need to take the time to clarify your hair, and it's also going to take time to adjust to this new routine. I like to add that there is a huge learning curve when it comes to all of this because there's a lot of information to absorb and a lot of information to process. And I've been doing this for the past 3 weeks and I'm still learning. And no, your hair is not going to shrivel up and break if you don't use oil and butters for 1 month. And that takes me to my next point. Oils and butters are bad for your hair. And you know what? I can see where that came from because the whole thing is called no oils and no butters for your hair for 30 days. So of course people run with that. The argument isn't the fact that oils and butters are bad, but it's the fact that raw oils and butters aren't doing what we think they're doing and are not necessary. Most of the products that we're actually using already have oils and butters formulated within them. So us adding oils and more butters on our hair is just us doing the most. Exhibit A, the highly spoken about conditioner when it comes to this method, AG Boost, is formulated with a ton of oils and butters. AG Boost is a 98% plant-based conditioner with naturally derived ingredients. And yes, I'm talking coconut oil, mango butter, grapeseed oil, rosehip oil, shea butter, and hydrolyzed quinoa. It also has apple cider vinegar to help nourish, detangle, smooth the hair cuticles, and seal in moisture. So it's not a conversation that oils are bad, but understand that your favorite conditioner, your favorite shampoo is already formulated with oils and butters. So the conversation is the fact that we may be using too much oils and too much butters on our hair. And we all know too much of a good thing can be bad. Now my next point is similar to the second point that I had in this video, and it is to be consistent. The same goes when you're using oil and butters, and it is applicable here as well. This way of caring for your hair suggests that you should be doing your hair every week, at least every 7 to 10 days. The longer you go without doing your hair, the more tangles you're going to have and the drier your hair is going to be. Having done both of the methods, obviously being an oil and butter fanatic and now trying this out, I actually think that there's a lot of overlaps between the two methods. No, you don't have to wash your hair every 2 to 3 days like people are saying, but if your hair is feeling dry, they do suggest that you just go through your entire routine and infuse more water into your strands versus spritzing your hair with water. Now, this is where I'm a little iffy, but the argument is when you spray water onto your hair, it's not actually penetrating your strands. It's just, you're adding to the waterproof coating that you already have on your hair. The good news though is you shouldn't have to re-moisturize your hair midweek or have to constantly spray water onto your hair. Once you set your hair, you should be good until the following week. What I've noticed, and I do have 4C hair, is that it took me a little while to get here. The first week, I felt like I needed to re-moisturize my hair. The second week, the same. This week though, this is 6-day post-wash day, and no, I have not re-moisturized my hair, and I don't feel like I do. You can see the snapback with my hair, and I can tell you that shit is feeling really moisturized. I hate to say it, but I have to be honest. Now, how is that even possible? So the emollients and humectants that are infused in these quality products that are recommended with this method is supposed to attract and retain moisture into your hair longer. So now you don't have to keep moisturizing your hair every couple of days because, hey, the humectants in the air is going to keep drawing moisture into your strands so you don't have to worry about it. Now, the whole conversation about re-moisturizing and what moisturized hair actually is like versus what it feels like, I think it's a topic for a whole other video because perhaps there's a lot of misunderstanding as to what we think is moisturized hair. The idea of moisturized hair is soft hair, but is that really what moisturized hair is like? I've been doing a ton of research, girl. I've been going down the rabbit hole, girl. So yes, it is a controversial topic, but I think it's a topic for another day. Now, speaking of humectants, that takes us to our, where are we? 5th point. Not all gels are created equal. I'm gonna say that again. Not all gels are created equal. Do not go and slap Eco Styler gel onto your hair and say that this method does not work. Matter of fact, Eco Styler gel is one of the gels that they do not recommend. Now, there are 2 types of gels. This is what I'm learning when I started this whole journey. There are plastic gels and there are botanical gels. Plastic gels are your wet lines, your Eco Stylers, and botanical gels, well, There's a lot of them actually. Instead of boring you with all of the names of all of the botanical gels that I've came across when I did all of this research, I will leave a nice healthy list in the description box. Now, plastic gels are made with synthetic materials and they're actually going to cause a ton of product buildup on your hair. Botanical gels, on the other end, are healthier for your hair. They're more moisturizing, and a lot of them are actually made with humectants. And we learned that humectants are able to hold moisture into your hair longer and also attract moisture from the atmosphere, from your environment, from your shower, onto your strands. As much as I would like to encourage someone to use the products that they already have, especially when it comes to the shampoo and conditioner category, the gel or the styling category, I would not recommend using whatever you have at home unless it's a botanical gel. Of course, methods does matter in terms of how you're going to take care of your hair and your final results, but if you're using a gel that is inherently going to dry out your hair or cause product buildup, then you're not setting yourself up for success. Let's take a look at Uncle Funky's actually. This is a highly recommended product when it comes to this method. In terms of ingredients, however, we're looking at water, aloe vera juice, marshmallow chamomile needle, oristal extract, vitamin E, agave nectar, citric acid, potassium sorbate, and natural fragrance. That is about it. And believe it or not, I'm actually able to pronounce all of these. So of course you're using a gel to define your hair, but the gel is formulated with ingredients that is more nourishing to your strands. Not some gel that is made with some plastic chemicals that's going to dry out your beautiful 4C goodness. So no, not every gel is created equal, and if you want to actually care for your hair in the best way possible, then you shouldn't use these plasticky gels. Now, the biggest misconception when it comes to this method is the fact that you have to do wash and goes only. The two stylists that talks about this, Elise and what is her name? Aisha. Pardon me, girl. You know I'm getting old. The two stylists that talk about this method, they suggest doing a wash and go because they claim that it is a style that is easier for most. Now, if you're like me and you've been avoiding wash and goes your entire life, then that is absolutely false. Wash and goes are actually not as easy as most people claim. And personally, I've been trying to master the wash and go for 3 weeks straight, and I still don't have it right. All that to say though, all of the styles that you used to do when you use oils and butters are still applicable here. You can do twist outs, braid outs, flat twist outs, put your hair into a puff. You can do whatever you want to do, a bun. You can do all of these styles. It's just a matter of the products or how you're going to take care of your hair while you're doing this method. By the way, did you notice how I just switched up my hairstyle twice just as we were just talking? Anyways, you don't have to just use a gel. For example, you can use a mousse, and that's what's recommended when you're doing your twist outs or your braid outs or anything that requires you to manipulate your hair later on. They recommend using a mousse versus a gel because a gel is going to set your hair in place, and if you're manipulating later on, then you're going to break that cast in a sense, which can cause flakes, etc. I'm not a gel connoisseur and I don't claim to be, but when I use the Uncle Funky's, for example, I find that it has a very light hold, if any. I can put my hair into whatever style that I want. In any case, wash and goes has been suggested because it's the easiest style. I don't find it to be the easiest style because there's so much that needs to align to get the wash and go right. The amount of products that you're using, the amount of water that's in your hair. Are you shingling your hair? Are you breaking your hair? Are you praying with your hair? I don't know. When it comes to the wash and go, I find it quite difficult personally. But I can understand why a lot of you guys are concerned that you're only doing wash and goes because most people that do this method seems to only do wash and goes. But you just wait. Once I'm done with this, I'm gonna hit y'all with these styles. Now, I'm not sure if this is a misconception per se, but I just want to let you know that shrinkage is going to be your best friend. If you did not accept shrinkage before, well, you may have a hard time. You know how your hair shrinks when you hop in the shower and you wash your hair and there's water in it and she's just absorbing all of the water and she's swelling, she's shrinking? Well, the point is to keep your hair moisturized longer. So you're going to keep your shrinkage for longer. Personally, for me, it's been atrocious. Allegedly, there are some gels that's supposed to remedy that, that's supposed to give you a little bit more hold as well as weight your hair down so it looks longer, but that hasn't been the case for your girl. Okay, as you can tell, my shrinkage is hella disrespectful, okay? I'm not playing with you. Why we gotta do this? Your hair is healthy when your hair is hydrated. she's going to shrink. And you know that elasticity isn't necessarily a bad thing, but if you haven't made peace with your shrinkage, you will have a hard time. It's funny, we want moisturized hair, but we don't actually want the characteristics of moisturized hair, because hydrated hair shrinks. That's a fact. That's what your hair does, baby. Just let her be. Now, the last misconception is the fact that this is going to be easy. Switch over, they say. Ditch your oils and butters, they say. Your wash day routine's going to be an hour, they say. Wrong. At least that's been my experience so far. My wash day routine are actually quite long. The first day was 5 hours. The second day was about 3.5 hours. And last time I think was about 3 hours. The process of unlearning everything that we were taught about natural hair and relearning something that is so different than what we know and that we've been doing is difficult. The mindset shift that needs to occur, it's hard for us to let go. And also understand that our hair may feel completely different than how we used to feel with oils and butters. Letting go of that, oh girl, it is not easy, which is why I gave myself this challenge to stick with it for 30 days. Otherwise, I would have given up the first week. Each week that I've done this routine, my hair has reacted differently, my scalp has reacted differently, and just learning all of that has been interesting, but yet it's not something that's easy. Letting go of how your hair used to feel when you have, for example, a ton of oils or butters in it, it's a hard process. I understand that there's a lot of people that are able to do their hair really quickly within an hour and a half and be done with it. Maybe it's because I have a lot of hair, but that's not really the case. I find it to be quite long. So please don't go into this expecting that it's going to be easy, because there's a lot of emotions that are part of this. Not just hair care, but also an emotional shift. I have to say, it's a lot. So understand that there is going to be a big flip with everything that you've been doing. So if you go in expecting that there's going to be a lot of changes, then you'll be more successful. All right, so Q&A time. Let's take some questions. Yes, girl, you in the back. No, not you in the green shirt, orange shirt. Yes, what is your question, sweetie? These questions were taken from my Instagram, by the way. So follow me on the gram if you want to interact with me that way. Does hair porosity matter? I want to say no. The idea of taking care of your hair this way, which they call basic hair care, really doesn't take porosity in mind the way that we thought about porosity. So a lot of us actually thought we were low porosity because of the coating of oil and butters that we had on our hair, which kind of sealed our cuticles shut. Personally, I classified myself as high porosity when I did the test, and also the way that my hair reacted. My hair will be fully dry after my shower within 2 hours. However, based on the research that I've been doing and listening to the stylist, we don't grow high porosity hair. So you'll get high porosity by doing, let's say, chemical treatments or coloring, for example, or by styling your hair in a certain way that eat away at the cuticle layers, such as protective styling. And it's really hard for me to admit this, but they say basically your hair fibers rubbing against the fake hair can actually chip away at your cuticles, causing you to have high porosity hair. So all that to say, no, high porosity hair does not matter when it comes to this. And if you are using gels and styling products that are high with humectants and emollients, it's actually going to condition your hair and hold water into your hair better. So whether you have high porosity or low porosity, moisture is still going to be held within your strands. What should we do in protective styling? So protective styling is something that they don't fully recommend it. I kind of just touched onto it because of the damage that it can cause to your hair strands. But if you are going to protective style, and they call it alternative styling, I don't know why I did this, but alternative styling. If you are going to protective style, then do it for about a month. Never go over, I think 6 weeks is what they recommended, because you are letting your hair dry out. With this method, you want to consistently hydrate your hair with water, and that happens when you are washing and conditioning your hair. So if you're letting your hair or leaving your hair in a protective style for so long, you're doing more harm than good, because you're letting your hair dry out. If you are going to protective style though, what they recommend is for you to wash your hair bi-weekly. Make sure that you wash your scalp thoroughly so that you're at least infusing some water within your strands. Do you have to blow dry your hair, or can you air dry? What is wrong with air drying? So they suggest that we use a hooded dryer when drying our hair and not air drying. The reason being is the fact that air drying takes too long. So when you set your hair and use a hooded dryer, it's going to set your hair in place. So the way that your hair looks when it's wet, it's supposed to dry like that, or at least close to it. When you air dry, your hair is going to take a long time to dry, so it's going to slowly shrink over time, creating more frizz, and your style is going to be unpredictable. Also, it's going to take a long time for your hair to air dry. I can speak from experience when I used the Uncle Funky, which, full disclaimer, I used a little bit too much, but my hair did not dry the next day. Girl, it took a long time, and I sat under the dryer for an hour and a half. So they suggest doing this in the morning. Use a hooded dryer until your hair is about, I don't know, 60 to 70% dry, especially the outside. They just want you to make sure that the outside of your hair is dry, and then go on about your business and let, the heat of the day, the sun, etc., continue to dry your hair. So there's nothing wrong per se with air drying based on my research. However, I read the scientific paper. In some test subjects, air drying actually caused some damage to the cuticle layer somehow, because it just takes too long for your hair to dry. So your cuticles open, and then when you're drying your hair, it's going to slowly close and then open and close and open and close, and that can actually cause some damage. I want to look more into it, but I don't think there's something necessarily wrong with air drying, but it's recommended to use a hooded dryer, not a blow dryer. Now that's direct heat. Not recommended. A hooded dryer is not direct heat because it diffuses the heat all around, versus a blow dryer is directly going to put heat in an area of your hair. Can you use a styling cream instead of Uncle Funky? Yes, I think you can, although they say that there is nothing like Uncle Funky, but I'm pretty sure you can use a styling cream that has some humectants that's going to take care of your hair. And I'll see if I can put some suggestions below. What is the thing about deep conditioners not needed? Okay, so this one's a big one for me because you guys know I love deep conditioners, and apparently deep conditioners are not that deep. Deep conditioners are treatments. So if you have an issue, there's a deep conditioner for that. For example, if you have high porosity because you did some chemical treatments, coloring, etc., then you may use a deep conditioner with protein. If your hair is chronically dry for whatever reason, then you can use a deep conditioner that is going to provide more moisture. So the rationale is that deep conditioners have ingredients that are going to penetrate your hair deeper to moisturize a little bit deeper than a regular conditioner will. However, when it comes to your weekly washing, you don't really need to use a deep conditioner because your conditioner should be pH balanced and close your cuticles. Is this method the same for short hair or TWAs? Yes, you do the same thing, and I actually think it'll be faster if you have short hair. So girl, go ahead, boo-boo. Do your thing. Can you get moisture overload? Now, I don't think moisture overload is actually a thing. Hydro fatigue is still being questioned. I actually watched a video on this just this morning. So no, I wouldn't say you can get moisture overload. Does washing your hair without sectioning cause breakage after a week of wash and goes? When your hair is moisturized and you're consistently doing this, and especially when it comes to how you handle your hair in the shower, I would say no. However, if you're rough with your hair, if you're not taking your time, then yes, it can cause some breakage. And it's not because of you washing your hair without sectioning it, but it's because you're being rough when you handle your hair. When you're doing this method, you want to make sure you start your detangling process as you shampoo. So you're going to gently separate your hair as you have the shampoo in it. You're going to separate your hair with the conditioner and then proceed to detangle. Personally, I just find that it took longer to detangle my hair while it's out like this and going into the shower with my hair out. It just took a little bit longer because, with my hair shrinking so much and just going into the shower, it just takes a little while, and I didn't actually appreciate that, but I don't think it's going to cause more breakage. When I looked at my little hairball, it looks the same. And ladies and gentlemen, this is all the time we have for today. Tune in next time to see how I actually did the wash and go on my hair. Like I said, this is 6 weeks post wash day, and my hair feels so good. She's so soft. I didn't feel the need to re-moisturize my hair. Like I said, I used a little bit too much of the Uncle Funky, so my hair felt a little sticky, but I can really see the benefits. My hair has never felt so moisturized throughout the week. I didn't feel like we're moisturizing, I'm telling you, and that's a big deal for me. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're enjoying this series, give me a thumbs up and let me know down below. I really want to take my time to deliver this information to you guys because there is a lot. Like I said, there's a lot to unravel, and because it's so different than what we used to do, I can't just slap a video together and go on about my business, you know? I feel like I owe it to you guys to really dive deeper and explain this, because if you want to do this, I want you to have all the information so that you're successful. But of course, no pressure, girl. Don't let anybody pressure you into doing something that you don't want to do, because you have to love your routine to do it consistently. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.